Hi, I'm Brian, Ian's dad, and we're going to look at a few verses from Luke chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. I'm in the NIV, just in case you want to just read the verses yourselves. The other thing I wanted to say was we could perhaps, in a way, share these verses. Just what I'd like to do is just sort of meander, that's a good word, isn't it? Meander through them and see what comes out of it. And if you want to do the same, that would be good, because you might spot things that I don't see. And even though we can't communicate that, it's still sometimes good to do that. So we'll just start with this first verse, 38. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. That is very commendable, I believe, of Martha. The fact that she opened up her home to the Lord Jesus is good. Very much, brownie points for that, Martha, because she does get a bit of stick later on. And this opening up her home, I used to find when I was a younger Christian, it was lovely to go to homes which had been opened up. We need to have homes where you can just go and have a brew, sit and talk, things like this. We need people to open their homes. Of course, I shouldn't be saying that at this moment in time, because we've been told we have to stay in our own homes, and we all know why. But it's a good thing to open up your home to people who possibly need fellowship, need friendship. Maybe their own home isn't all that exciting and that. So it's good when Christians open up their homes to other people in the fellowship, and even people who might be just on the road searching. And we could just talk all morning just about the value of a good Christian home. I can remember, just as a young man, going into this one particular home. It was a minister's home. This was in Burnley, and the peace that there was in that home, it was absolutely wonderful. There's just a slight lack of it in my own home, and whenever I went to this home, there was such a wonderful peace, and there was a real sense of love between the minister and his wife, and it was it was audible. So a Christian home is a valuable thing. I think it's something that God uses in different ways for witness and for help, for ministry. So it's a good thing to have a Christian home. So good for Martha. She takes the first step and she invites Jesus and the disciples to come and have a meal. I do think the disciples would have been very pleased actually about that, because I think a lot of the time they ate on the hoof. Jesus did an awful lot of walking from, well, obviously, just his ministry was that of walking from one village to another throughout Capernaum, Galilee. And I think some of the meals would have been a bit hit and miss, to be honest. And I think the disciples, to get to Martha's and she invites them in for tea or whatever, I think they will be looking forward to that. I think, wow, we're going to have a real good feed here. There are other few instances where they manage to have a good meal. I think at the wedding of Cana, that sounds like it was quite a good do. And dear old Zacchaeus, he threw a big feed for them. So there's a few occasions where Jesus and his disciples have a meal and things seem to happen. So I think the disciples, yes, would definitely have been looking forward to this, having a meal, at Martha and Mary's. And so it says here in the next verse, that Martha had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. And I say, you know, bully for you, Mary. You know, no, she's got it right. Mary got it right. Jesus was there. He was probably going to be there for quite a while. And Mary got the best seat in the house, if you like. She sat at his feet. She just wanted to look at him, to listen to him, to be close to him. She had absolutely got it spot on. Yes, what a place to be, eh? Sat at Jesus' feet. What about that, eh? Yes, I mean, some of the hymns, don't they, tell me the stories of Jesus. I love to hear. Maybe some of you remember that as children. Things I would ask him to tell me if he was here. And yeah, some of them childhood hymns. Recently, I just started looking back on some of those. Some of the hymns I learned as a child. And, you know, there's some good stuff in some of them. I don't mean Jesus Bids Us Shine. I think that got kicked into touch, that one. But there's other hymns, which I now can't just bring to mind, unfortunately. I don't know if I can pause this for a second. Yes, another one that I just sort of picked up recently, looking again. Father, teach me day by day, ever in thine own sweet way. Teach me to be pure and true. Teach me what I ought to do. And fortunately, I can remember one or two of the hymns from songs from when I was just a child, and that's good. Sometimes you can bring them back. Right. So dear Mary has got the prime seat. She sat listening to Jesus. And unfortunately, we have to go back to Martha. Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked him, Lord, don't you care that my sister's left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Again, you can't blame Martha. Jesus, he's not going to be coming for tea all that often, and she wants to put on a really good spread. I had a friend that went to Lorehouse Methodist in Burnley, and at odd times I'd go with him. And if ever there was a social event, there was a lady there called Eva Greenwood, and she made the most wonderful potato pies, and there'd be a big pan of mushy peas. And Eva Greenwood used to say, hey, I've no time for these Marys. If it weren't for the Marthas, I tell you that if it weren't for the Marthas, this place would have closed long ago. It's us Marthas that keep it. She was a Martha, and she knew she was a Martha, and she hadn't a lot of time for the Marys. But I know that Eva Greenwood, she got it wrong. Of course we need the Marthas. Of course we need the Marthas. But what was Martha? What was Martha missing? Let's just look at it again here. She comes. What would we say? In Lancashire, some of the old end, if you listen to this, you'd know this word. She were moithering. She were moithering. Because Mary wouldn't come help her. Whinging, perhaps, is what we say today. And Jesus must have been just a bit disappointed. He must. Martha. Look at verse 41. Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Jesus says you're worried about, upset about many things, and I hadn't seen that before. I just see that if you like, if we were there, if you could see this, I think she would be, you know, sort of walking up and down, maybe, you know, shaking her head and going on and absolutely saying, well, that needs to be done. The lettuce needs washing, the eggs need boiling, the tomatoes need slicing. She's gone off on one. How I don't know. I don't want to call her stupid. I don't mean that, but she has the chance. She has the opportunity, the chance to come and sit at the feet of the most amazing, wonderful person you could ever possibly meet. And she's busy running around like, what did they say, a scalded cock or a scalded hen or something or other. And she was doing it for all the right motives, of course. She wanted to put on a good feed. But I suppose if we had the chance, you, if me, any of us, if we had the chance between knocking up a good meal and sitting at the feet of Jesus, I think I know which we'd go for. And you know, sometimes we've got to be so careful, because sometimes activity can push out, what's the word, the devotional life. The great danger for us as Christians is that we get too busy. We get too busy. And if you're not careful, we push out the better part. Mary had got the better part. She spent time with Jesus. And there's always that danger of becoming too busy. Even one's daily devotionals or whatever, your quiet times, whatever, you know, if you're fighting and you're going against the clock, instead of having a proper quiet time, you just think, well, a couple of verses from Daily Light, I'll just read a couple of verses, that'll do for me Bible reading. Oh, God bless Jimmy, George and everybody else, and away you go. And if we're not careful, that joy, that peace, that deep sense of yes, it starts to dwindle, it starts to wane. And we have got to be careful of being too busy, that we don't do what Mary did. Come and never mind what a sister thought about her. She wasn't bothered what Martha thought. She probably was. She wasn't. She wanted to sit at the feet of Jesus. Oh, that's what it's about, you know. That's what it's about, the Christian life. It's sitting at the feet of Jesus, being in his presence, knowing him in a deeper way, loving him. Oh, that's what the Christian life is about. Oh, Martha, Martha, what did you miss? What did you miss? That might never have happened again. He might never have been able to come. He did come, of course, when Lazarus died. That was another situation. But Martha, you missed a golden, golden opportunity here, just to have time in the presence of Jesus. And Jesus makes it very clear. Martha, Martha, like I said, verse 41. But verse 42 says, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Some people might say, well, she got a bad deal, did Martha? There's Mary, and she, you know. Would anybody say that Mary was dodging the column, that she was sort of, you know, not wanting to do anything? I don't believe that. I reckon that, I can only imagine this, we don't know. I think that when the thing was over and Jesus left the disciples, I think Mary would have really got stuck in and helped and done all that needed to be done with Martha. I'm sure she would. And not only that, how much benefit did Mary get from sitting at the feet of Jesus? And what was her attitude after she'd spent time with him, what was her attitude afterwards? With Martha, with other people, there'd have been something of that. She would have maintained, I believe she'd have maintained that spiritual glow. And as she met people and what she did, and I think maybe for I don't know how long, but certainly for a few days afterwards, I think Mary would have still be thinking and remembering that joyous time she spent at the feet of Jesus. Right. I think that's probably about it. I'm not going to say you're a Martha or a Mary, because you probably know a few Marthas, and sadly we don't always know enough Marys. But we need the Marthas, of course we do, but we need the Marys. We need the Marys, people who have sat in the presence of Jesus. And what does it say somewhere in the letters? You know, we give off, Paul says, we give off the aroma of Christ Jesus. And as Christians, you know, that's what should be happening. Something of his love, something of his beauty. Let the beauty of Jesus be seen in me. All his wonderful passion, compassion and purity. O thou Spirit divine, all my nature refine, till the beauty of Jesus be seen in me. In you. Amen.